All passengers, Flight 001 Putt Putt Saves the Zoo is now boarding. Once on board, please fasten your seatbelts and prepare for takeoff. Thank you for choosing Destination Nostalgia, and please enjoy your flight. Welcome aboard, all passengers. This is Destination Nostalgia, where we travel through pieces of media to see if they are as good as we remember. I am your pilot, Jordan McKenna, and my co-pilot today for our first ever episode is my lovely sister, Ellie.
Hi, I'm honored to be here.
Thank you so much. Oh my gosh, when I first told her the idea for this podcast, I think it was this time last year, I asked you if you thought it was a good idea, and you were like, only if I can be the first guest.
I probably would say something like that.
That's all I care about. So I was like, oh yeah. So I'm very honored to, a year later, finally be putting the wheels to the road on this and having you as my first guest.
Well, thanks for having me.
Since this is our first episode, we want you listeners to have a very pleasant journey with us today. So I'm going to give a brief description of what our journey will look like. Each episode will be split into 4 parts. So today's episode is about Putt Putt Saves the Zoo. For our first part, we are going to give you a little bit of background on the game. For our second part, we're going to tell you our memories related to the game in question. And then 3 is we are going to do a deep dive into our most recent experience playing the game as adults. And I should note that one of my favorite parts about reviewing media for funsies is to give out meaningless ratings and awards. So of course that will be a big part of our deep dive. So we'll be giving out really crappy awards and ratings throughout this entire thing. And then finally, we will have a wonderful awards show at the end to deliver our final ratings. How does that sound?
That sounds fabulous. I hope everyone's buckled in and we know where our emergency exits are, just in case.
That was excellent. I truly didn't know how to transition. In my notes, I just said, what do pilots say? So thank you for saying that.
They say, buckle up.
Buckle
Hold on tight.
up, put your tray in the upright position, and here we go.
Part 1, Background.
So for our background section, I want it to be a tradition that we will start with our best guess of what the game or the piece of media is going to be. So before Ellie and I even replayed Putt Putt Saves the Do. So before Ellie or I even played Putt Putt Saves the Zoo for the first time again in many, many years, I had us just jot down what our best guess of the actual game's description in its marketing and advertising is. Yes. So Ellie, would you please tell me what your best description for Putt Putt Saves the Zoo was?
I would love to. So, yes, as Jordan said, it's been many a years since I have played this game, but my memory, as it serves me, I wrote down, a talking juvenile convertible and his chocolate lab sidekick are forced to be zookeepers, a job that human adults do when trouble arises at the local zoo.
I love that. A fantastic delivery. I love that. I really appreciate the detail of Chocolate Lab. That is a level of thoughtfulness that I did not include in mine. So here's mine. I, as an adult, really wanted to speculate what in the sweet hell was going on, that the world would be this way. What happened to the humans? Why are there anthropomorphic cars? So I kind of leaned into that in my description. So
Very
I have
good questions.
In a dystopian future, cars and animals are the only living beings left on Earth. And then in parentheses, my hypothesis of how the cars gained sentience was perhaps a stray piece of RNA fell onto a car cylinder and then life happened.
Began.
That was my best guess. One Scrappy Coop and his dog Chip.
Can't remember his name.
Chip, I think, are the only hope for saving the last zoo on Earth.
Wow. Beautiful.
Thank you. So here is the real description. I mean, we got the gist, basically.
Good.
A car and his dog try to save the zoo. But here is the real description. I'm going to give it my best advertising voice. Things have gone wild at the Cartown Zoo.
Ick.
Thank you. Today, the grand opening of the Cartown Zoo. There is still so much to do. Zoo chow is running low and all the baby animals are missing. Okay, that's not so much to do. That is a fucking disaster.
Yeah, how did this happen, first of all?
That's a dumpster fire. Putt Putt and Pep, not Chip, unfortunately, need your child's help.
Oh, my child.
My child. So we have two. One child was not enough, but two will really seal the deal. That's the it's no longer absolutely irresponsible if the second child is there. Need your child's help to reunite the little ones with their parents before Outback Al can open the gates. Along the way, they'll swing across alligator-infested rivers. Again, your child and this talking car. Play ice hockey with a polar bear. Build a bridge out of icebergs. Bop with dancing penguins. And enjoy other adventures. Or horrors. That's my addition there. This zoo is full of loyal friends and captivating challenges that are sure to run wild through your child's nightmares. Imagination. All right.
Wow, I didn't realize that they geared it towards the parents.
I guess that makes sense because kids can't read.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A sweet little detail in this. I wasn't gonna include it because I didn't think it was it didn't make the final cut of my notes, but I did put a little note in when I played it the first time that I was like, it's so nice that Putt Putt reads the signs for me. Like, I'm an adult who can read, but it's still nice. The thought's nice. Yeah. So yeah, I guess, the ones with the money and the literacy are the ones that the ads are targeted to.
Interesting.
Makes sense. We did our creative writing portion of the background, so now we're going to get into the cold hard facts about Putt Putt. And shout out to the Humongous Entertainment fandom wiki where I got most of this information. So truly, truly, full sincerity, this place is the best place ever. I really love how just the passion people brought there. And I may laugh about certain things, but it is truly because it's delightful and not because I'm being mean. It's just, I love part of why I'm doing this podcast with my friends and family is some of my favorite stuff in the world is just people's passion about very specific types of media. So the fandom wikis are some of my favorite places. I was just belly laughing. It was so fun. So something that I thought was really funny was in the fan wiki, there's a section called Early Life.
Oh my God.
And I had a laugh about that for 5 minutes because I was like, what
is that?
How does a car have an early life? What's happening? So
just pipes and tires.
Yes, exactly. It was the raw piece of the straight piece of RNA that fell on the car cylinder. Early life. I just wrote lol. The first story with Putt Putt took place in a book beside a child's bed. Putt Putt's creator, Shelley Day, told Putt Putt's first adventure to her then 3-year-old son Travis as a bedtime story in 1990. In the story, Putt Putt saved a cat who had gotten stuck in a tree. So Putt Putt was a book character before he was ever a super high-tech 90s computer character.
I see.
So Putt Putt Saves the Zoo is a point-and-click adventure game by Humongous Entertainment, which is a kids' edutainment computer game company, and it was released in 1995. Wow. It is the third game in the Putt Putt series. So Putt Putt has been on many adventures prior to saving this terrible zoo. I thought it was really funny. This was a small detail, but it wasn't released in Canada or Russia until 2006. So almost a full decade later.
What do they have against Putt Putt?
I was going to say, I was like, is it too scary?
It must be.
What's going on?
Do they not have zoos there? I don't know.
And then even funnier, it wasn't released in Australia until 2011, which is fair because we are going to meet this abomination called Outback Al.
Oh, yeah.
That alone is probably why Australia was like, we don't want anything to do with him. No.
We're offended.
And that's fair. So Putt Putt was very popular in his time. Putt Putt Saves the Zoo, along with the previous two Putt Putt games, had a combined total of 1 million sales in 1997.
Wow.
So he is a very popular boy. The goal of the game is described as, quote, rescuing 6 missing baby animals and having fun along the way, which I wrote, questionable.
Yeah.
We'll be the judge of that if we had fun along the way. And since at the end of our episode today, in our 4th part, we will be giving this game a lot of fake awards, I thought, to be fair, we should look at some of the real awards that it won.
Absolutely.
That it won.
Pay our respects.
Yeah, gotta respect. So, Putt Putt Saves the Zoo won the 1995 Children's Multimedia Expo Kids' Choice Award under the category Couldn't Peel Me Away.
Wow.
Some other awards that we saw. The Best Kids Game of 1995 from the Computer Show Online.
What?
Sure. And then randomly 100 best discs ever from CD-ROM Today, and there's no date on that, so I think he's still in the top 100.
Still the champ.
Yeah, he's a champ.
Wow.
And then he was also voted the most popular character ever from Home PC Kids Labs. And again, there's no date.
What?
So he's still... Yeah, no date of what year this happened. So he's still the reigning champ.
It's questionable.
Part 2, Memories.
Now we're going to get into talking about our memories about Putt Putt Saves the Zoo. We know that he is a very popular, the most popular character ever, but what was our first interaction with him? So Ellie and I went to daycare as kids, and at the daycare, there was this beautiful, glorious, chunky, old white PC.
Oh, yes. In the corner of the room.
In a corner of the room. And it was just Christmas if we got to play on that thing. So Putt Putt was one of the many games that was on that computer. So I don't have a lot of specific memories from Putt Putt Saves the Zoo, except for just, it reminds me of early childhood and it makes me feel comfy.
Yes, and I'm glad that you said that, because that was exactly what I was thinking too. Like, I don't have really many specific memories of it other than literally being at our daycare lady's house, all sitting around that computer, and just the feeling of being a kid playing a computer game.
Yeah, trying to fight for like limited real estate space.
Yes.
Like, what part of the screen can I fit my head?
I want to play this mini game.
Yeah, and that's totally fair for you because you are younger than me. So if I barely remember it, I don't know how you would remember it. So since our memories are a little bit limited, I thought, and also because I know you have some very strong opinions, I want to hear a little bit about what you think about zoos.
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 Well, I wouldn't say I don't know. I feel like I'm right in the middle when it comes to zoos.
Yes.
Like,
morally gray.
Morally for sure. Like, I like a zoo on occasion. Mm-hmm. I've been to zoos all across the world. I've been to the San Diego Zoo. That was a cool zoo. Went to a zoo in London. Like, that sort of thing is kind of fun. And being like a Minnesota girl, I love the Minnesota Zoo.
Yeah, Minnesota Zoo is great.
But like, morally, definitely have problems with it.
For sure.
And like, while there are good memories attached, it's like, I kind of hate this. So
yeah.
I don't know.
I agree. I'm pretty similar with that because it's like, I would love if there was not a need for zoos.
Yes.
I despise like sideshow roadside attractions like Tiger King, where it's like they clearly are just doing it to get people in the door. But I also understand too that like, sadly, we live in a society and nature is running out, and sometimes the best way to preserve animals is to keep them in a very well functioning zoo that is based on research. And I know that a lot of zoos fundraise for conservation, and it's a good way to educate people, and there are some animals that can never be out in the wild safely. So yeah, again, morally gray. And with that said, do you have a good or a bad memory of a time at the zoo that you would be willing to share with us?
Oh, I mean, in general, and I was very, very young when this happened, so maybe I'm not even remembering it correctly, but I do believe that my very odd fear of butterflies came from a zoo.
Yeah. Thank you for bringing it up.
Yeah.
I was
if you don't acknowledge it, I will. Yeah. Yep. I believe that, were we out in Oregon, maybe?
I think it was Colorado.
Mm-hmm. And I was very, very young.
We were. Yeah.
And we were with like family, extended family, and this zoo had a butterfly house. And I'm going to keep reiterating, I was very young.
Yes, you were very young.
And I was like stuck in this butterfly house, and I feel like I lost our dad. Like, I think I lost dad, and I couldn't find anyone else.
He lost you. I don't think it was your fault. I'm sure he's
a wanderer.
He really likes to read signs. He really likes zoos as well. So I bet he saw a really cool sign and then just like left his 2-year-old child to fend for herself.
Yeah, so I just was like in this butterfly house in a state that isn't mine. I don't know where any of my people are. And then all of a sudden there's just butterflies in my face, landing on me, just all around. I'm freaking out. I think I remember just like running to the exit, just like screaming, which is probably the opposite of anyone else's reaction in a butterfly house. Everyone's like, wow, oh, this is so cool
So
and pretty.
peaceful.
And there's a 2-year-old like,
having a sensory
running for
nightmare.
the exit. So, I do believe that my fear of butterflies did stem from the zoo.
That's
But
fair. That's
what
fair.
about you?
Oh, well, I can't make fun of your fear of butterflies because I had a very similar situation, but with bats. And you've heard this story a lot, so I'm very sorry. And I feel bad. I didn't want the bat story to happen right away on the first episode, but here we are.
It's gotta happen.
We're bringing it out. So I am calling out the Omaha Zoo. What the hell, guys? Like, seriously, what the fuck? So we went to the Omaha Zoo. I was 24. Like, I was fully
just a few years ago.
fully an adult. And I didn't think that I had a fear of bats because, like, I know in my brain, they are helpers. They are very good. They are good pest control people. When they stay still, I think they're real cute. It's just when they move, they get a little too close to my head.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like they're doing it on purpose. What were we doing? It was me and my dad, and
everything is with Dad.
I know, maybe
he's the problem.
but
I think we're figuring this out. It's not the zoo, it's our father.
It's the dad issues. No, he's a lovely man. And also, I mean, it's a little bit different to like wander away from your 2-year-old than to wander away from your 24-year-old
adult daughter.
No, but I fully regressed. He was a champ because I fully regressed to 2-year-old by the end of this. But yeah, he and I, there was like a South American building, kind of rainforest. That's what it was, a rainforest building. And it was all open air. And there was this sign at the entrance that said like, the bats will be active starting at 4:00. And so I just assumed like, oh, if you wanted to see the bats in their enclosure be more active, like this is like, I wouldn't have assumed.
What a daunting sign. The bats will be more active at 4 p.m. Get out with your life.
Honestly,
or be
on the way out, it felt like an ominous warning, like from the beginning of a horror movie where you're like, that person wanders out of the woods and they're like,
the bats come alive
the
at
bats
4.
will be out at 4 p.m. And it's like, you big, I was the idiot that I was screaming at, like, it's right there. And I just stupidly walked right in. We get down to the bottom level. There is a full bat tornado. I shit you not. I couldn't even believe. It was incomprehensible.
That's vile.
It was vile. I didn't know such a thing could happen, but it was like a colony of bats just. And I fully froze. And I was like a 2-year-old to my dad. I was like, I can't. But we were too far in. So he was like, well, we gotta either way. But I didn't want to
go over
it. Can't go under it. I don't want to go through it. Please leave me alone. And then there are these like preteen girls standing like a couple inches from the bat tornado. And they're like kind of laughing at me because I'm making a bit of a scene of not being able to move. And I was like, am I the only one here with any goddamn sense? Why are you so close to the bats? Oh, it was so crazy. And so then my dad literally had to like hold my hand like a little child and like lead me. And I was like cowering behind him. And then it just got more and more enclosed. And so then whenever the bats would swoop, it would like, there'd be less room for you to, and I just kept like, anytime they would even just start, I would just flinch. So it was probably like 20 minutes of my body just like flinching. And yeah, it was crazy. So by the time I got out, I just had like this huge adrenaline dump and I just couldn't, I was so angry. And Omaha Zoo, you let me know, because I failed to believe that nobody has sued over like
the bat tornado.
Seriously, if somebody's grandma went in there and got a heart attack because she wasn't expecting to like have bats swooping at her head, I was like, how is that not a liability? So anyway, Omaha Zoo, I don't know what the hell's going on. A good zoo story after that. My favorite animal to see at the zoo is orangutans. I just love them so very, very much. And the most pure, wholesome, soul-warming energy moment that I have ever had was watching a baby orangutan work on walking. Like it was just,
Aww.
It was like itty bitty, just learning how to walk. And he kind of stumbled and then did a somersault. And it was like, I don't think I've ever had that pure joy since I saw him do that. It was excellent. And there was probably 4 of us that watched it and we all just looked at each other like, oh my God, did you just, it was so good.
Baby's first somersault.
So, sometimes there's butterflies and bats, and then sometimes there's orangutan babies doing somersaults.
Absolutely.
So, good and bad at the zoo.
Part 3, Deep Dive.
So some background before we start the deep dive. I have had a few unsuccessful attempts at starting this podcast. So I actually played the game in June 2022, but that day was not any regular day. It was the day that the Dobbs ruling came out. Speaking
Putt sues the Supreme Court.
Putt Putt
goes to Washington, D.C.
Putt Putt saves the bodily autonomy. Putt Putt saves human rights. Oh, Putt Putt.
Oh,
yeah, maybe
God.
we shouldn't be shitting on Putt Putt. We need him. Putt Putt 2024.
He's the hero that we deserve and need.
Oh my God. Oh man. So yeah, that day I was spent the whole day just in terror. And then I was like, I just need a break physically from this. So I played Putt Putt. It was just like such an interesting, like went from like terrifying
Big
emotions
contrast.
to like very sweet, wholesome nostalgia. It was almost kind of funny. But all that to say, it shows in my notes. The vibe is quite hostile towards these characters. So just a caveat. There's a lot of aggressive, rude language in this. But it was a part of my very adult playing experience.
Absolutely.
We've graduated from, playing this as a child at the blocky PC, and now
we're not at daycare anymore.
Now we're not at daycare anymore.
This is real world, bitch.
this is real life. The opening theme for this damn game is aggressive.
Yes.
It is. It slaps you in the face right away. So I'm going to do a dramatic reading of the theme. So this is called Introduction / To the Zoo by George the Fat Man Sanger.
Sanger? Is that his real last name?
With the name like Sanger.
He was born to sing.
He was born to sing.
The Fat Man sang.
The Fat Man
It ain't
sang.
over to the Fat Man
No,
sang.
he does a good job with this song. So here we go. Fill your tank. Save the zoo. Get in step. Save the zoo. Check your tires. Save the zoo. Go get pet. Putt Putt saves the zoo. Putt Putt saves the zoo. Putt Putt, you've gotta save the zoo! And then we just get a barrage of Putt Putt saves the zoo. Putt Putt saves the zoo. Putt Putt saves the zoo. This is a manifestation. Putt Putt saves the zoo. Putt Putt saves the zoo. Putt Putt saves the zoo. I had to rewind this a couple times. I'll take my notes and actually count it out on my fingers. It's like, holy shit. Yeah, so as an ADHDer, it felt very familiar to me, where it's like, this would be my checklist. Where it's like, there's one very clear theme going through here. Like, the other things are very important daily life stuff, but one is like a very vague, higher goal with no means of getting there. It's like, just save the zoo. So my notes I wrote, clean the bathroom, start a podcast, do your taxes, start a podcast. Like, one of these is going to win out over the others. Yeah, some of these are not as attainable as others, but we're just going to keep saying it till it happens.
Lose your rights. Save the zoo.
Cry a lot. Save the zoo.
You've got to save the zoo.
Putt Putt, you gotta save the tubes, my fallopian tubes. Putt Putt. All right. So we're right away at our first award. So I am giving this the Stressiest Theme Song Award.
Absolutely.
Because, my God, if that doesn't shoot your adrenaline up. So before we jump into the story, let's learn a little bit about our hero.
There he is.
I have a beautiful picture
Look at him.
of Putt Putt from the wiki thing. And the first thing under the picture of Putt Putt says gender male. And I was just laughing so hard about this last night. It's like, the gender binary has no end.
It's astonishing.
Let's gender the cars.
And I mentioned this multiple times as we will go through this, but I 1000% believe that Putt Putt is a member of the LGBTQ plus community.
I agree.
I have no doubt in my mind.
I agree. I think I'm loving the purple, like very strong purple.
Absolutely.
From this lovely boy car in 1995. Excellent.
The eyebrows.
Oh, don't even get me started on eyebrows. Okay, reader.
Do you think they're windshield wipers?
Dear reader, no, I don't think he has windshield wipers, because there's a point where he uses his creepy antenna, which we'll talk about the antennas.
I wrote down the antenna.
Oh, thank God, we're on the same page here. Where he uses it to like manually use a wiper on like the kind you'd have at a gas station. So I don't think there are wipers in this universe. However, Just to give a description to the listeners, Putt Putt is a lovely purple coupe with white tires, and there is a lovely dog puppy companion with him, and the eyebrows really stood out to me. I described it as mid-2010s block eyebrows.
Absolutely.
All of the characters have very aggressive eyebrows in this, which is good, I guess, because it's like, how do you make a car emote? But yeah, he's rocking the block eyebrows.
They really just float, though. What's holding them on? Where are they?
I mean, how did the cars come to life?
That's fantastic.
How did the cars reproduce?
None of this matters.
Yeah, I think the eyebrows
don't
are
matter.
the least about.
You're right.
But no, it's okay. It does matter. The point of this podcast is we're gonna ask. We care too much about stupid games that nobody cares about anymore.
We ask the tough questions.
We ask the tough questions here. Some other things to know about Putt Putt. Putt Putt is very dead behind the eyes. He has this permanent, just vacant expression and just big cheesy smile, and like there's a lot of traumatic things that go on here. Like we have missing children, grieving parents, and Putt Putt's just cheesing.
Yeah,
he's regardless
just happy to be there.
He can't read the room. It's fine. What did I write about him? Quote, he has that dead-eyed expression of someone with a public facing desk job. I know that look.
Yeah,
he gives me receptionist at 3 p.m. face.
Absolutely.
He's giving receptionist face. So our last, more horrifying details about Putt Putt. When Pep is not on the outside of Putt Putt, he's just sitting in Putt Putt's glove box, which I don't appreciate that. That's a little bit scary. So possible animal abuser with that. That doesn't seem right. Also, the cars have antennas because it's the 90s, and they move them around as like an appendage, and it just never gets less unsettling.
And I don't understand
really
why the antennas are coming from the back. Like, weren't antennas always in the front, like, of the car?
You're right.
Like, I think about my old, like, Town and Country gold minivan.
Chevrolet, no.
My Chevrolet.
Chrysler minivan.
And it was in the front.
That was also a note that I wrote, was like, if they tried to do this today, like, what are you going to pick up? Like, use Wi-Fi to pick up stuff? What the hell? This is very much of its time. Yeah, that's everything you need to know about our hero and his very nice and also very terrifying qualities. So, Putt Putt receives the call to adventure. Our story finally opens with Putt Putt arriving at Baldini's grocery store, and already we see all kinds of implications about the needs of anthropomorphic cars. So, Ellie, I'm going to quiz you.
Oh, gosh.
Could you tell me 3 things that for sale at the grocery store? Just your best guess.
Like things I remember seeing?
Yeah.
I definitely remember carrots, because I remember I tried to click on them.
Oh,
carrots, just to see what would happen. I think apples were next to the carrots, because cars also eat apples.
That was my main thing about the produce. I was like, so cars eat produce in this world, I guess.
And then, this third one, that's going to be tough. I'm just going to throw one out there. In the game, they talk about cheese toasties. So I'm just going to say, cheese squigglies. Excuse me.
So here's what we have, dear listener. You can buy at Baldini's grocery store windshield wipers, big old 2000s era speakers, of course. Produce, like Ellie mentioned. So unclear if the cars eat food, but we have corn, carrots, tomatoes, fuzzy dice, obviously.
Oh, of course.
But where do they hang them? Is that like a belly button piercing in this world? Yeah. Nearing. A voodoo doll of questionable cultural origin.
This whole game is of questionable cultural appropriation.
Yeah,
I wrote that down many times, starting with Mr. Baldini here.
Yeah, thank you. I went off on Mr. Baldini. We'll get there, though. We're almost there. Gumballs, watermelon, baguettes, paint cans, and pinwheels. So
Only the necessities here.
Really, only 3 things that real cars use, and the rest is, I don't know, some interesting implications here. So let's talk about Baldini. So Mr. Baldini, sorry, I put a really gross picture of him on our on our little visual aid here. Not that, I do see Baldini's face in my nightmares every night, but just for Ellie to remember what he looks like.
Oh, how could I forget?
So Mr. Baldini is the grocery store owner car, and he is an Italian stereotype to the biggest degree in car form. So he has a very lovely curly mustache and just a completely overdone Italian accent. So my apologies to Italy. There is a direct quote from Mr. Baldini that says, "Good a luck a putt putt." So, very authentic accents we got going on here. What do you have about Baldini?
Oh, just all of these same things. I mean, just the fact that this entire game is kind of just problematic and they don't miss a beat. They just start right off the bat at Baldini's with this. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of questionable accents throughout this whole thing. So I'm glad that you and I are on the same page. I shouldn't be surprised, but I'm glad we're on the same page already. With the plot, terrible accents aside, Putt Putt excitedly tells Mr. Baldini that it is the opening day of the Cartown Zoo. Mr. Baldini tells Putt Putt he knows, and asks the child car and a pepper to take a delivery of zoo chow to the new zookeeper, Outback Al, which we'll get to that bastard. We'll get to him. I got a bone to pick with Mr. Al.
And apparently so does Australia up
until
2012.
He's been on Australia's list for a while. Putt Putt enthusiastically accepts this call to child labor, and we get some very grotesque antenna action with the zoo chow handoff. Mr. Baldini calls out to our hero, "Good luck, Putt Putt," and our hero's journey begins. Now, stop the clock. Kind of the backstory of the inspiration from this podcast. We do PowerPoint parties with our friends, a la 2020. And so one of my PowerPoints was about 90s and 2000s children's games. So I learned a lot about the many tropes that appeared in that time period. And one of the most common ones that just pisses me off is child labor, and not just child labor, but payment is done via scrapbook as an award. No money, only memories of your child labor.
Good times.
So, stop the clock. I mentioned in my notes a scrapbook style reward 5 minutes into the game. Quote, I said, "Is this a scrapbook reward situation?" So we'll see. We are now crossing the threshold. The journey begins. So on the way to the zoo, just a quick mention, this kind of confirms my theory of like a post-apocalyptic world. And I think what we see along the way gives us evidence that it was a nuclear event. So there is exploding apples on the apple trees. There is a random tentacle that just falls out of a barrel. And then there are teeth in the trees.
Yeah, that's problematic.
It's so scary. I hate it. It makes me, if I saw that in real life, I would scream. So anyway, I think that they're giving us subtle signs of what happened to humanity, and nature recovered in a weird way.
Nature is healing.
She's healing. Also, we should note there is a shady roadside attraction style billboard for the Cartown Zoo. So already I'm getting some unsettling vibes from this zoo. So we finally arrive at the Cartown Zoo. The zoo entrance has some fun things you can click on. When I interacted with them, I actually screamed in delight and said this quote in my notes. Quote, "I know this design is for children, but it's actually really effective for sad adults."
Yes.
Yes, very good.
Specifically the topiary creatures.
Oh, I got some topiary commentary. So at the entrance, we meet 3 singing topiaries. Their song goes on forever. And so much so that the topiaries break the 4th wall and gain self-awareness.
We are the topiary creatures. We're very pleased to meet you. I haven't written this verse yet.
So I made an award for most self-aware topiaries to the Cartown Zoo topiaries.
Absolutely.
Very good. What was your
comment about them?
Yeah.
Just that I think that the topiary creatures is actually a fantastic band name. I think that is something that should happen in real life.
Absolutely. It's up for grabs.
I also wonder, do they sing every time anyone comes to the zoo? Like, are they stuck in this constant rotation? Like, It's a small world after all kind of thing, where they just are always singing?
Yeah.
And then there's also a part in the song where they rhyme cicada and gaita, and I almost lost it.
I didn't catch that. That's excellent.
Bars, topiary creatures. Okay.
I love that.
Cicada, gaita.
Cicada. That's incredible. I'm so glad you heard that. So once the topiary stops singing, Putt Putt uses his antenna, and I just shuddered and wrote in my comments, "It never gets less jarring," to talk with the zookeeper Outback Al to get into the zoo. With his signature catchphrase, "Hot ziggity."
Hot ziggity!
Putt Putt enters the zoo. So Putt Putt delivers the zoo chow, and we meet the zookeeper and local scourge, Outback Al. He is an Australian monster truck, I think. So my Mad Max Fury Road idea of the dystopian society is coming to life.
Absolutely.
Yes, with the cars, all that are left are the machines, and the animals. So I also wrote that Outback Al is Mad Max meets Joe Exotic. So he has the rundown zoo and the animal neglect to prove for it as well. So Outback Al begins to tell this actual child car about what a disaster his zoo is. He leads with how everything is broken, and then at the end tacks on, I don't know, all the animals are missing.
And truly, like, what happened? Like, how did this take place? And you'd think you'd be more prepared if you know that this is the opening day of your zoo.
Exactly.
Like, I want to know how this occurred.
Yeah, I feel like opening day problems should be like, oh no, like we didn't print enough tickets, or we ran out of popcorn, not like my zoo's on fire.
And I truly believe too, like, this is my own interpretation into the game. I don't think it's a coincidence that all of this happened. I think that there is some sort of like conspiracy that like someone sabotaged the zoo, because how else is it possible? I have no other explanation as to why all these things went wrong.
I went really hard on the moral character of Outback Al and just that he's incompetent.
Very true.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went with incompetent owner. Yeah. But I do like the conspiracy.
I went with sabotage.
I love it. Sabotage. Yeah. Both are very likely. Putt Putt, the child car, excitedly volunteers to do the risky job of finding the baby animals. Outback's only response, his catchphrase, Jackaroo.
Jackaroo, you're on!
To quote Outback Al, and my final knife stab for me. Final blow. The final blow to Outback Al's credibility for me. He says to the child car, "You'll rescue them. I know you will." Excuse me, sir, you are the adult in this situation.
Yeah.
You rescue them.
I literally am just bringing you food, and then I got tied into this.
Exactly.
So,
I was just door dashing, and now I gotta rescue all these animals.
This is your job.
Oh my gosh.
Showed up here.
So my award for Outback Al is the Jackassaroo Award. Somebody please call OSHA on this truck, because just violations all around. So let's do the lineup of our baby animals. So there is a baby elephant called Jumbo. There is a seal called Sammy, a hippo named Zanzibar, Kenya the lion cub, a giraffe named Masai, and a snake named Skeeter. So, oh my goodness, that's a lot of animals we gotta find.
And I also kind of have issues with the animals' names as well.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of problematic as well. And I get what they're trying to do, but it just feels a little too...
And then also to roll up with Skeeter.
Yeah, with Skeeter.
Here are these like vaguely African-themed names for the savanna animals. And then here's a snake called Skeeter.
The snake. Ick.
All right. Then we go and we meet the other workers at the zoo. We have Chuck the food wagon, which he sells a truly abominable combination of hot chocolate, cotton candy, and cheese squigglies. That is the most vile combination of foods I have ever heard. That would just rot in your stomach if you ate them all at the same time. Oh my gosh. And then apparently Putt Putt's favorite food, according to the fandom wiki, is cheese squigglies. So again, I have no faith in this car's judgment.
Well, and this zoo has probably the worst business model of all time.
Yes!
Because when Putt Putt is like, hey, I'll take some of those cheese squigglies and a hot chocolate, he's like, perfect, I'll just give them to you both for free. Yeah. You don't have to pay for anything.
Yep.
Okay, good luck staying afloat, Chuck the food wagon.
Yeah, you guys don't even have animals here.
Yeah, this is going terribly, and you're giving out food for free.
I know. We're going to meet the next Chuck, and I went really hard on her, too, for a very similar
same comment
thing.
for her.
So then we meet the other car, the lady car, called Patty, and she's the gift shop gal, and she was giving away free cameras to Putt Putt, and I just got really mad at her, and I wrote, free cameras, Patty, in this economy? Are you kidding me?
I mean, the business model of this zoo, it's unbelievable.
Incompetent all around.
Expect to make any sort of money at all.
Yeah.
And what's there to take pictures of? All your animals are gone.
Yeah. I do love the picture function. There's some really fun stuff with that. None of the adults seem to be very competent here. So maybe Putt Putt is the one to save the zoo, because all the adults suck. So we have 3 little domains biomes? 3 biomes for the animals.
Sure.
Arctic land, grasslands, and jungle land, which I don't know why, but that pisses me off more than the other ones. Like, fuck you in particular, jungle land. No effort. They just gave up. Jungle Land. Now we start our trials. The trials of Putt Putt. I'll be reading through my specific route of gameplay. It was a bit of a disaster. So Putt Putt enters Arctic land and finds some rope. Something I really appreciate about Putt Putt is he just will say, let me borrow this.
I'm just gonna borrow that.
I'm just gonna borrow that. And I saw myself in Putt Putt when he's doing that. It's like, good on you, Putt Putt. That's funny. So he grabs the rope and then drives near a big pile of snow, and he very aptly says,
Look at all that snow up there! It looks dangerous! We'd better be quiet, Pep, or we might cause an avalanche.
And then a series of unfortunate events happen. Pep starts to sneeze, and Putt Putt stops him, and then Putt Putt sneezes, and now there's a snowdrift in the way. And I got really mad about this, apparently. This is where things started to get hostile. Just wrote in all caps, great job, Putt Putt! Now we gotta find another way through. Took it very personally.
Also, it seems like a really bad design for a zoo if literally at any waking moment, if anyone makes a single noise, that they're going to get trapped in an avalanche. Like, what's your plan when that happens? Are you going to come save these people? Are you going to get sued? It just doesn't seem like
this
a
is
good
the bats
design.
all over again. The liability.
Exactly. It just seems like a bad design.
Did Omaha Zoo design this? The hell?
They must have.
Ugh. Some more fun from the fan wiki. So there's a section called Goofs and Bloopers. And the sweet, sweet soul that wrote this was taking it so seriously. So they had some problems with this scene. And this is what they said. It is not likely that Putt Putt would have sneezed in Arctic land because he doesn't have a nose. And the surrounding terrain seemed fine. So he would have survived it no matter what. And that's canon.
That is fair.
So we have to do a little U-turn. And next, Putt Putt and I went to the grasslands. And now this is where things started to spiral out of control a little bit. There is a log that is blocking the entrance to the grassland, and Putt Putt can't go forward. The amount of irony that I wrote this, I was completely unaware of at the time, but I wrote, it seems like these cars are easily foiled and shouldn't be in charge of the zoo. Also, maybe children shouldn't be saving the zoo. So the mechanics to this game are much simpler than I thought. I didn't know you could just click on something.
Real point and click game. Yeah, a point and click.
I kept trying. I had assumed that I would need a tool to move the log, so I kept taking things from Putt Putt's little toolbox and like trying to use them and getting really, really frustrated. So I abandoned the grasslands. I was like, I don't have the right tool yet.
Oh no!
We went off the rails right away. So I turned around and very angrily went to the stupidly named Jungle Land. I also wrote, I hope there's no snow or logs.
Yeah, truly.
So right away, we reach our next liability for the zoo. There is a broken bridge with a crocodile underneath it that Putt Putt needs to find a way to cross. And once again, oblivious to the danger he's in. Just big cheesy grin, dead eyes. He's just happy to be here. He goes, wow, that's a long way down. How am I going to get to the other side of the bridge? And it's like, get an adult, babe. You shouldn't be doing this. So Putt Putt, ever the crafty fellow, uses his antenna to swing using the vine. The car antennas are very much of their time, and they come in handy during the game. And like I said, you know, you kids these days with your Wi-Fi, you will never get across the bridge with your Wi-Fi, you know? That's why cars need antennas.
Exactly.
You kids with your internet, jays. He also goes, this looks pretty secure. It's like, yeah, sure. All right. Okay.
Don't cars weigh like tons?
That is a great point. Absolutely.
And not even just like, oh, they weigh a ton. Like they literally weigh tons,
yes.
Don't they?
Yes.
And that, you're telling me that vine is holding that car?
Must be a strong vine.
Or a light car. I don't understand.
Yeah. The zoo is treacherous, for sure. But anyway, Putt Putt's across, whether or not physics makes sense.
I suppose.
And then I didn't know how to feel about this next part. There's 3 monkeys, and they, I think, are supposed to be beatniks.
I don't like it.
I still don't know why.
It
Feels gross, but it feels gross. Next to the questionable monkeys, there is a toolbox that Putt Putt steals because he has a problem. He can't stop taking stuff. Putt Putt keeps on driving in Jungle Land, and we run into the mother boa constrictor looking for her baby Skeeter boa constrictor. She just says very heartbreaking things like, "Where is my baby? I hope my baby comes home soon." And Putt Putt's just smiling, cheesing, not reading the room at all. Yeah.
Well, and the speaker underneath her, so there's like speakers that all the different animals raise and like learn about them. Yeah. And he like makes a comment before he listens to this one about this boa constrictor, and it's like, "Oh, I'm gonna learn all about boa constrictors." And then it goes on to say boa constrictors live in South America. And that was basically it. It's like, how is that all that there is about boa constrictors?
Well,
tell me more.
What I love about I have an award specifically that includes the intercom that comes out a little bit later. But what I love is like the grieving mother animals still talk. Wow. So like they can play over each other, and it just, it
feels
is
insensitive.
It is so insensitive. It ruins the vibe. It's like, "Where is my baby? I hope my baby's coming soon." Boa constrictors can swallow a whole mouse. Yeah, again, Putt Putt not reading the room. I can't wait to learn facts about boa constrictors.
While you complain about your missing
grieving.
son. Get over it.
Oh my god, so funny. Putt Putt tells mother boa constrictor that he's going to find her baby. He keeps driving into the jungle land, and we find a wooden raft with a missing wood piece. And about this time, I'm freaking out because I know where that log is, but I don't have the right tool to pick it up. So I drive back. I can't go through jungle land, can't go through grasslands, can't go through snow. And I'm trying to find a way. So I'm like, maybe Outback Al has some tools. I go to visit Outback Al. Nothing. And then I ran out of ideas. So I was like, maybe Baldini has something at the store. Maybe I can throw a speaker at something.
You went all the way back to Baldini?
I did.
Oh my god.
And it was about this time that I wrote this note. Is this game going to be too hard for me?
Oh, no.
This child's game. Okay. So then I go back to Arctic land and desperately try to melt the snow with hot chocolate from Chuck's wagon.
There's a thought.
He doesn't. Putt Putt would not let me dump the hot chocolate out. I go back to talk to Mama Boa. Maybe she's got something. No, she's still grieving. I go back to Outback Al. Please help us. Then I go back to Arctic land and I click on Pet. Maybe he can dig us through the snow. No. At some point, I just started taking pictures of the baby animals. I was like, maybe if I take pictures of the baby animals, the adults will help me. That didn't happen. Around this point, I was feeling very defeated. And in my notes, I say, what's the point? This is insane. This children's game has bested me. I've spent 30 minutes on this. Fuck.
Oh my god.
30 minutes just spiraling. So the solution, unfortunately, was I actually caved and had to look up a walkthrough about what I was missing. Because I was like, I don't know what I'm missing. And the solution was just to click
on it
without anything in your hand. So I wrote, fuck's sake, you can just grab the log.
Oh,
fuck.
No.
So after 30 minutes of that, we're going to try again. So then I awarded the log the things that broke me mentally award with a special mention to the Dobbs ruling.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Almost equally.
Yeah, I would say. Oh yeah, so in the grassland, we meet Mama Giraffe. Baby Giraffe is missing. We know. We meet Mom and Dad Lion. Baby Lion's missing. We know. So other than the animal facts, something really fun that I figured out on accident is that if you can take pictures of the grieving animals and they'll come back and they'll be crying and sad.
I don't think I even used the camera.
Was so
now that I
funny.
Think about it.
Oh my gosh. So I think you're supposed to use it like when they're happy and reunited, but I just was desperately trying to do anything to prompt something in the game to happen. So I ended up with a lot of really sad pictures of like grieving parents and missing children.
Oh my God.
And Putt Putt, again, can't read the room. Will like very cheerfully say
cheese. It's a snapshot moment.
And then you have a picture of a mom crying.
Yikes.
So,
looking good.
For the Read the Room Award, it goes to Putt Putt between the intercoms and the camera and taking inappropriate pictures. And his dead smile. He's not doing very well at reading the room.
Yeah. Hasn't learned those social cues.
Yes. But what luck! As we keep exploring the grassland, we find the baby elephant Jumbo, who is up on a hill with a mouse in front of him. And he's not going to move because he's terrified of mice. So Putt Putt, ever the thinker, grabs the cheese squigglies that he got for free from Chuck and just chucks them at these mouse. And the mouse runs away with the cheese squigglies. And we've saved our first baby animal.
Woo! We go to the very ends of the grassland. And finally, thank God, we're at the paint shack. Paint shack baby.
Paint shack baby.
This was actually one of the actual memories I had of this game. Was the paint shack. So this is the classic, speaking of classic kids games tropes, the changing the color of the character has arrived. I quickly realized as I was going through that the yellow looked quite unsettling on Putt Putt, and it gave me the vague feeling of like when you have a friend that goes through a breakup and they're trying to mix things up and then they go blonde and it doesn't really work for them, but you're like, they're just happy that they tried it. But you're just like, something's not quite right, but I'm happy for you. So that's why I had to give Putt Putt, the blonde Putt Putt, the patron saint of breakup dye jobs. So thank God for blonde Putt Putt. Blonde Putt Putt is my default for the rest of the game because I appreciate the good work that blonde Putt Putt does. Did you have a story for the paint shack?
Yeah, this for me confirmed that he is a member of the LGBTQ plus community.
Class.
And after every time you change like his coloring, he goes, "I look good," and like says it in a really funny way. I look good. I was like, yes, Putt Putt.
Yeah,
okay.
Putt Putt has confidence. He can make it work. Yeah, ignore what I said about blonde Putt Putt.
No,
it's all good. We love blonde Putt Putt and all of his work. However, our lovely friend over at the fandom page had an issue with the paint shack and considered it to be a bit of a goof. Quote, after Putt Putt accidentally paints Pep's head at the paint shack, Pep would have been poisoned.
Again with the animal abuse.
Yeah. I guess the game should have showed the dog die. Then we drive clear on to the other side of the grasslands where we find our second baby animal, Sammy Seal. Sammy Seal is stuck in the opposite side of a dam, poor thing, so she can't swim back home to the Arctic land. Luckily, we stole that toolbox, so Putt Putt is able to lower the dam, let the water in, and Sammy Seal is free to go.
There was also a line during this conversation between the two of them that I wrote down.
Oh, excellent.
And I think it's my motto from here on out.
Oh, I love it.
And he says, "My name's Putt Putt, and I'll do my best." And that to me, that's how I should approach every day. And I'll do my best.
I'll do my best. And you know what? He did. He did his best. So we have thoroughly conquered the grassland area and saved all of the animals. So it's time to try our hand at Jungle Land. Now that I finally had that log, we were able to fix the raft at the end of Jungle Land. And now we're going to do some river rafting. And we meet a very stereotypically New York hippo. Yeah, he's very grouchy. And he's lost his son.
I liked that they made him like the single dad, because I think most of the other parents are like the single moms that are looking for their kids.
Yes.
And I thought that this was a good change of pace where the dad was looking for his son.
Much like our dad was looking for us at the zoo. This hippo dad is looking for his son.
Did you write down the same quote I did about this interaction?
I sure as shoot missed the kid.
Whoa, sure as heck is me.
Whoa, sure as heck
Whoa,
is me.
sure as heck is me, says a man who's literally missing his son. Like, yeah.
I really sure as shoot miss my kid. Yeah.
Sure as a shoot.
Why don't you go look for him?
Is me.
Also, why aren't the adults looking for them? Why does the car...
I don't know. Because it's opening day. They have to be in their positions.
They gotta hit their mark.
Yeah. The curtain's rising.
Do not move from this spot. And smile. God damn it. So Putt Putt goes down the river, not without having a little bit too much fun. We go through like a little log flume sequence, and I'm like, I don't know, Putt Putt, just looks like you're messing around.
Yeah.
Having too much fun. And then at the bottom of the waterfall, we see a stranded Kenya lion cub up on a rock in the middle of the waterfall. And Kenya is incredibly sassy. I really appreciate it. She just tells Putt Putt what for. He tells her to jump, and she's like, I can't swim. And she's not here to take Putt Putt's stupid questions.
Also, the layout of this zoo is just crazy. I mean, the fact that they have like a 12-foot high waterfall and like a mountain that can have avalanches. Like, how did they afford all of this? Who's paying?
Also, again, quite dangerous. Like, why do they have such a sheer
money?
water? Yeah, car taxes. How does that work? Well, we don't even know if there's money in this system.
That's true. Just gas. Gas in the tank.
So we continue along the river and are able to find a route up to the top of the waterfall and use the handy-dandy rope that we stole earlier and get Kenya off of the scary, scary rock into safety. Another animal saved.
All in a day's work.
All in a day's work is right. I don't remember if I said this the first time. Did we talk about the giraffe yet?
No, I don't think so.
I think I skipped it. Okay. So on one side of Jungle Land, there is Masai the giraffe that is stuck on the opposite end of a drawbridge, but the drawbridge is, what is it? Stuck in the up position? There's a word that I can't think of right now.
Like reeled up or something?
Yeah.
The drawbridge is up.
The drawbridge, thank you. The drawbridge
is just up.
She's up. Okay. And Putt Putt is on the opposite side, and he doesn't know how to lower the drawbridge because there's a dang boulder in the way. This was something, again, where I was thinking a little too hard about this, and I was looking for the right tool to move the boulder. So I was clicking on everything. I was putting the dog on the boulder. I was using the shovel on the boulder. I was trying to melt the shovel or trying to melt the boulder with hot chocolate.
That'd be a long day.
Nothing worked. I tried everything. And then I gave up and went to Arctic Land because I forgot to mention, because I was so excited about the paint shack, there was also a shovel. The least exciting thing at the paint shack was a shovel. So Putt Putt steals the shovel, and we're able to dig a not so sturdy looking hole through the snowdrift, and we're on to Arctic Land. We move into Arctic Land and we come across Skeeter the snake, and he is just has such a heartbreaking line. He's like, "Brr, I'm freezing and I miss my mama."
Yeah.
Just having a rough
just
day.
Just a bad day.
But luckily we have just what Skeeter needs. Our complimentary free hot chocolate from the snack wagon is just what Skeeter needs.
It's got to be lukewarm at best.
That's true at this point.
It's been in our freaking glove box all day.
Not only that, we just dug through a snowdrift.
Yeah. Yuck, that won't heat her up at all. Heat him up.
Oh well. So Skeeter takes a sip, feels better. However, our critic from the fandom page had a lot to say about this. This person seems like they are very, very invested in snakes, which I love that. Snake people are excellent. So they're just here to teach us about snakes. So here is the goof from this scene. In real life, snakes don't drink hot cocoa because hot cocoa is a plant product and snakes are carnivores.
Oh
the only animal product in it is dairy. Additionally, it is cooked and snakes only eat prey raw.
Oh my God.
Eat prey raw?
Eat Prey Raw.
Bless.
Great book.
I love it. My favorite. Also, it would not have made it easier or even possible for any snake to slide on snow or ice. As a cold-blooded creature, they have to be within a certain temperature range. They are over it. Regardless, Skeeter goes back, he does slither away, and we continue on to some of my favorite animals in this zoo is a group of hip-hop dancing penguins. And everybody starts dancing, and even Pep starts dancing in the glove box, and I thought that was really cute. But then, once the dance party's over, we look to our right and see that, oh my gosh, Zanzibar the hippo is stranded on an iceberg. But thankfully, with the help of the hip-hop penguins, we can build a bridge for him to get back. And another baby animal saved. Oh, thank God. Finally. My favorite animals in this whole damn thing. We come to the end of Arctic Land and we meet the seal family. So Sammy has a mom and a dad, and the dad seal has incredible glasses, and I love him. I love Seal Dad and his glasses. On the wiki, I learned that his name is Bobby Seal, and he's married to his wife Squidgy Seal. And
How can they have such different names?
Bobby and Squidgy.
Bobby and Squidgy.
And when I learned that mom's name was
Brutal.
Squidgy last night, I actually was on the floor laughing for at least a minute.
She looks kind of squidgy.
I couldn't even believe it. But I love Dad Seal. He's excellent. He's very supportive of his daughter's dreams to become a slip slide in champion, which is excellent. So my award for Dad is the Fan Cam Award, because I'm not the type of grown woman that makes fan cams, but I would make one for Dad Seal. He's great. So cheers to Bobby. We appreciate Dad Seal very much. Oh, also, I created an award for things that happened at the zoo that I believe should be added to the Olympics. So Sammy dunks a basketball after going down like an ice slip and slide. So I think slip and slide basketball should be added to the Olympics. And also while in Arctic land, if you have the time, you can play hockey with a polar bear.
Yeah.
So I think polar bear hockey would be a good addition to the Olympics. And perhaps there would be an initiative to conserve the polar bears.
Oh,
They could have a place to live in the ice rink as well. So our last hurdle, the giraffe. So I went back and was like, how am I going to move this damn boulder? And then I realized that the combined weight of car and giraffe could tip the boulder over. So I just clicked it and the boulder was moved and we could drop the bridge down. And finally, our last animal was saved.
Yay!
Yay! But I did put this note. Oh, fuck. This is the log all over again. So it also gets the award of things that broke me mentally. So as it stands, we have log, boulder, and the Dobbs ruling. Then we go back and tell stupid Outback Al that we saved all of his animals. We did his damn job for him. Where's my money, please? Yeah, I have this in my notes. You saved the zoo. Pay me.
Yeah.
That's what
I'm
he should have
also
said.
literally a child
Mhm.
and a car, and I just did your job for you.
Yes. Yes. So then there is a grand opening of the zoo, and we get a thank you and a junior zookeeper ribbon.
Junior, after all that?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, not even a full zookeeper.
Senior.
It's a slap in the face
Mhm.
via antenna. That seemed to me another version of the scrapbook. So I was right. My intuition was right that this poor little child car was not even going to get paid for his exploitation. So Outback Al says some more words, and Putt Putt gives us one more hot ziggity for the road, and the game is over. Yay! But we get a couple more gems before we're done. We get a full view of the entire zoo and all the cars zooming around at the end screen. And then if you look a little bit closer, that damn bridge with the alligator over it still hasn't been fixed. And there are cars just like swinging over it with the vine. Wouldn't that be the first thing you would fix before people come over?
It must just be part of the experience. I wonder if that's intentional. It must be.
This is like Class Action Park all over. Like, this is bad.
Yeah. And especially bad that
liability.
there's like a crocodile under there.
Yeah.
Like, at least tell him to take the day off. Like,
Yeah.
Jeez.
So, I mean, clearly Outback Al has learned nothing.
Yeah.
And this zoo is going to fall to the
Just
ground
gonna go
regardless. Sometimes the only sabotage is self-sabotage. Outback Al is not doing any favors.
Yeah. I honestly wonder if he did this all to himself just to make people show up and be like, look, we saved the day and
yeah.
now all of you are here and look at this. This kid did all this work for me.
I like that.
The
That's
zoo
like
is saved.
a blend of both of our theories.
Because, I mean, I'm sure that would make the front page news in
Mhm.
Cartown magazine. Like, breaking news, the zoo was supposed to open. Everything was a shit show. This guy was able to save the day.
Mm-hmm.
And now people will go to the zoo.
Yes.
So maybe it was self-sabotage.
Interesting. And then we do get an end screen with the scrapbook. Thank God. And we get to see all sorts of beautiful memories from the show. So I gave it a final award, the It's in the Scrapbook award for featuring a scrapbook. And the story behind that is there was a coloring game on the very same PC that we played Putt Putt on. And if you wanted to save your drawing, this very sassy child would ask you,
Do you want to save your picture in the scrapbook? It's in the scrapbook.
it's in the scrapbook. So we still say that all the time. And so this game gets a final award of it's in the scrapbook.
Part 4. Awards.
Thank you everyone for joining us for the first annual Destination Nostalgia Award Show.
Ooh, yes.
Yes, it has been a fantastically interesting gameplay for Putt Putt Saves the Zoo, and we have many awards to pass out. To start off the night, we have Ellie giving her final ratings of the game.
Thank you. I'm honored to be giving out this award here tonight. I can't think of any car more deserving. Tonight, my final rating of the game goes ultimately to Putt Putt, and it is a final score of 2.5 out of 5 hot ziggities for overall game score. A lot went into this decision, including gameplay, nostalgia, music, graphics. Ultimately, I do think what holds this game up so very much is the nostalgia. It's not a game that you can play many different ways, which is all right. There's a time and a place for that. But ultimately, I would give this game 2.5 hot ziggities.
Well, as we know, any hot ziggity is never given out lightly.
Exactly.
An honor either way.
Well deserved.
Now for our more individualized awards, we have for Stressiest Theme Song, Introduction / To the Zoo by George the Fat Man Sanger.
Yes.
A work of art, well deserved.
Yes.
Very good. The award for most self-aware topiaries goes to the Cartown Zoo Topiaries.
Of course.
Absolute
Very
genius.
good.
Very yes. Good. And the awards that go for things that broke me mentally. It's a little personal, but that's okay. Well deserved.
Very, very
goes
good.
To Log and Boulder. With
yes.
honorable mention, the Dobbs ruling.
Yes, who could forget?
Oh, I wish I could. All right. Award for Jackasseroo goes to my favorite jackass, Outback Al. Truly a piece of work.
Well done. Well done.
The Read the Room Award goes to Putt Putt for taking photos of grieving parents and poorly timed animal facts. And he is so good at that. He is persistent. A fan favorite, my personal favorite, the Fan Cam Award goes to Dad Seal. Truly a
very good.
wholesome guy,
Well
and
done.
I am in fact a fan. The Squidgy Award for ridiculous names goes to Jungle Land. Perhaps think of a better name next time.
Yes, good.
Yes, and some final congratulations to Slip and Slide Basketball and Polar Bear Hockey for becoming Olympic sports.
Yay.
A very big milestone indeed.
Momentous.
Yes, and to Blonde Putt Putt for becoming the patron saint of bad dye jobs, a much-needed saint indeed. I know I will be praying to him frequently.
Yes.
Thank you to all of our nominees and our guests, and from all of us, have a very good night.
Attention all passengers, we are now preparing for landing. For your safety and the safety of those around you, please subscribe to this podcast. From all of us here at Destination Nostalgia, thank you for flying with us today. We hope to travel again with you very soon.